2022, Kodak Black signed with Capitol Records for $30 million. Last month, he dropped his final album under that deal, announced he's officially independent, and got a blank check offer from Young Thug. And just a few weeks earlier, Kodak himself got out of jail after posting bond. Is this the start of an independent run he's been building toward for a decade? Or is it just another chapter in the cycle we've already seen before? 2014, No Flockin' starts getting traction. 2017, Tunnel Vision hits number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. His debut album peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200. By any measure, he's arrived. But in 2019, he's sentenced to nearly 4 years in federal prison on weapon charges. Trump commutes his sentence in 2021. He comes home, drops Super Gremlin, which goes viral early 2022, and then signs a $30 million deal with Capitol Records. That's the kind of comeback we're looking for. That's a comeback we see in movies. Thing is, $30 million didn't slow any of it down. The music kept coming, and so did the charges. At Capitol, Kodak did exactly what he said he'd do. He worked. 6 albums in roughly 4 years between Atlantic and Capitol combined. He fulfilled every obligation. But the relationship with major labels was never really clean for him. Atlantic first, then Capitol. Both of them got music, both of them got streams, both of them got chart positions, and Kodak's been pretty vocal over the years about feeling like the label system extracts from artists more than it gives back. So when he finally got to the end of the Capitol deal, the move was clear. He dropped Kodak the Blessing on June 12th. Surprise released on his 29th birthday, and announced it was the last album under a major label. He's a free agent now. But here's the thing nobody really talks about when an artist goes independent. Going independent sounds like the obvious move from the outside. You get to do whatever you want. You keep your masters, you keep your money, you get to call your own shots, make your own plans. That's all real. But what a $30 million label deal actually buys you isn't just cash. It's infrastructure, it's setup, it's something that you can work with. A major label comes with a promotion budget, you got a radio team, you got relationships, you got a marketing machine that's been worked on for decades. So when you leave, all that goes with it. Kodak's built enough of a fan base that he can probably survive it, but probably is doing a lot of work in that sense. Artists who've tried to go independent at his level without that infrastructure, without that setup, even with a loyal fan base, have found out pretty quickly that the label was doing more heavy lifting than it looked from the outside. So the move Kodak just made isn't really about freedom, it's kind of a bet. He's betting on what he's built over the last decade to be strong enough to stand without a major label's infrastructure, without their weight behind it. That might be the best bet, but it's still a bet. So here's where it gets interesting. Within days of Kodak announcing he was independent, Young Thug, who's currently navigating his own legal situation, posted on X saying he's given Kodak whatever he thinks he wants to sign with YSL Records. So, a blank check offer for an artist who's just left a $30 million deal to be free. The fan reaction was split down the middle. Obviously, half were saying staying independent is obviously the right move. He just bought his freedom. Why would he already give it away? The other half were saying YSL actually makes sense culturally and Thug's support means something. But I think both sides are missing the bigger point. The fact that Kodak is getting offers this fast before he's even put out a single independent project tells you something about the guy and also what the industry actually thinks of his value when he's not locked into somebody else's deal. Then you got the May arrest. On May 6th, Kodak was arrested in Orange County, Florida on drug trafficking charges, released on a $75,000 bond. This comes on top of the December 2023 cocaine possession charge that he's already been dealing with. And that's the part that makes the moment feel so strange. This should be a victory lap, this should be celebratory. The major label deal is finished, he's got the masters, he's still got all his fans, and people are offering him checks. If there was ever going to be a clean slate for Kodak Black, this was supposed to be it. But the problem is somehow it's already complicated. I'm not going to sit here and predict what happens. Legally, I don't really know, and that's not really the point. The point is that the independent era he's been working towards for over a decade is literally starting right now, while all this is hanging over him. The music industry can give you a few clean starts. This is about as close as Kodak's gonna get. So why does Kodak always get another chance? And I think that's what makes Kodak such a weird artist to talk about in the first place. He's got normal industry standards, but there are multiple points in his career where this probably should have ended. The prison sentence, the constant legal issues, the drugs, the controversies, long gaps between clean runs where everything always seems stable. Ever since, 2016 Freshman Cypher, right? He was popping off then.
Who the fuck picked this little sorry ass beat? I'm from the ugly corner, man, them little sour ass streets.
What happened? Well, for most artists, one of those things is enough to completely change the trajectory of your career. But Kodak's never really operated like most artists. Part of that is the music itself. He's one of those rappers where the influence is bigger than the numbers sometimes. You can hear pieces of Kodak in an entire generation of Florida artists that came after him. And part of it is the audience. For better or worse, his fans have always separated the music from everything happening around it, right? Separate the artist from the art. Every time it feels like the story's over, they show up again. Every time people start writing the obituary for his career, another record takes off, another moment goes viral, another comeback starts forming. That's not something that you really manufacture with marketing. It's not really something a label can build for you. He's building that connection that artists spend their entire careers trying to create, and it might end up being the biggest reason that this independent run actually has a chance to work. And if you're watching this as an independent artist yourself, here's the part that I actually think matters. And you know, I always like to add this to the video. Listen, Kodak didn't go independent because it was a safe move. He went independent because he earned it. So literally fulfilling a $30 million contract, he delivered every album and he walked out with his masters and his freedom. That's not really a shortcut. That's not really him sneaking out. That's a decade of leverage that he built, one project at a time, until the label really needed him. Most independent artists want that outcome, but they're not going to build it. They want the freedom, they want, the ability to call their own shots again, but Kodak's version of independence only exists because he made himself impossible to ignore. That's what makes the moment interesting. He's got a lot of leverage, he's got a lot of heat, literally and legally. He's got Young Thug publicly in his corner. He's got a fan base that stayed loyal through more than most artists ever put them through. But I keep coming back to something. The artists who actually make independence work long term, Russ, you got Chance the Rapper, during the peak Tech 9, they all had one thing in common going through it. They built the infrastructure themselves before they needed it. The mailing list, the direct fan relationships, he had merch, touring costs, revenue. That didn't depend on a label writing a check. Kodak's got the fan base. So whether he's got the infrastructure around it is different. And one we're probably going to find out the answer to in real time. Whether he stays independent, signs with YSL, or builds something entirely new on his own, the next 12 months of his career are probably going to be a little more revealing than the last 4 years under Capitol. And honestly, the bigger question is something else. Kodak Black has spent the last decade fighting for freedom in just about every sense of the word. He had freedom from prison, he had freedom from major labels, he had freedom to kind of do anything on his own terms. We're about to find out whether freedom was actually the thing he needed all along. Y'all let me know your thoughts, drop it in the comments below. Obviously subscribe for more, it takes me a while to make these videos, a lot of work. Love y'all, appreciate it.